Yes.
Okay. Okay. And just close the screen over here.
Okay.
I hope they come back. Uh-oh. Oh, maybe you have to invite, you have to manage participant. Okay, thank you. Haskell should be making too much noise back there, like a lot of cracking.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you come back in case they have questions?
I'm back.
Oh, she's back. Awesome. You look great. Oh, you look great on the big screen. This is how you dress for your clients.
Baruch Hashem, Scott says. The other thing I want to tell you while we're alone is that you want to tell Faith and her grandmother that when there's noise in the background,
Mother.
when there's noise in the background, they need to press mute. So if they're talking to people or people are singing or coughing, that they could just press mute so that they can hear you, but like we're all protected from their noise.
Okay, that's a good idea.
You can tell her maybe privately after the meeting because she might not.
That's a good idea.
So there's this mute button at the bottom. You probably see it.
Yeah,
and that way they can mute themselves. Like I do that if I hear that the dog is barking or that people are doing that.
Yeah. I do it all the time with my classroom. I mute all. And
yes, but you don't have to mute her. You can have her mute herself.
Yeah.
So like I like self-mute if I think things are going on. You know?
I could actually even just mute them, you know?
Yeah.
It's I thank you for that. I didn't remember that. I do it all the time with my kids.
Yeah, you can mute just her, but
yes, I can mute her.
Yeah. Or you can mute us all. Oh, here's somebody coming back.
Oh, good. Excellent. Okay, good. I hope Amy can come in this time.
Oh, right. Lost you.
Good. Okay, so okay, so let's end. Okay, good. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Mom.
I lost you.
I see you. We see you.
But I don't see you. I don't see you.
You hear me, but you don't see me?
Right. Join a meeting.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Meeting. I don't know. I'll find you. Go ahead.
You'll find me. And at the end of class, you're going to show me the invitation, right?
Okay, yeah. Right.
Okay, good. It won't be much longer, I don't think.
Okay.
So anyway, I want to end by, so anyway, the other thing I wanted to tell you, the Rebbe, you remember the Rebbe also said burial will have no effect on the leader of the generation, that current events are part of the Geula.
Wait, what did he say? What will have no effect?
Burial. Can you believe that? Haskell Shimon. There's something on my screen that just popped up. Can you get rid of it? Never mind. I got rid of it. Okay, I'm such a technical whiz now after doing kindergarten on this stuff. So I'm only kidding. I'm not a technical whiz. The kids are so far ahead of me. It's so funny. They figured out how to annotate on my screen and do everything. So anyway, the Rebbe said that, okay, on this day, now, right now, the sun just set, and we are on the Hebrew date of the 28th of Nisan, right now, this moment. And 28 Nisan, on 28 Nisan, the Rebbe gave truly a blockbuster sikha, a blockbuster talk, and he said, okay, I'm going to try this thing right here. So he said that on this date, he said that he announced in 1991 on this date, 28 Nisan, he said, I've done everything I can to bring Mashiach. Now it's your job. You are the ones. You have to think about what to do. You have to break your heads. You have to turn the world upside down. And it's your job. And the people said, they came to the Rebbe the next day. They said, what? My job? It's your job, Rebbe. We've been relying on you this whole time. My job? I don't know what to do. The Rebbe said, and one woman was like crying. And she said, Rebbe, you have to do this. It's not for us. You're the Rebbe. You know how to do these things. And the Rebbe said, if I am the Rebbe, you keep calling me the Rebbe. If I am the Rebbe, then I think you have to listen to me. And I said, it's you. You're going to do it. So the Rebbe didn't say that out of desperation. He didn't say that because he had no other options, because he tried everything and he failed. God forbid, no. The Rebbe, when the Rebbe says something, it's because the Rebbe's like a pilot. It's like, a pilot is it travels at much higher altitudes. And a pilot can see much farther than we can here down on the ground. And if the Rebbe told us that it's us who are going to bring Mashiach, who are going to bring the redemption, then And then he meant it. He meant that he sees something in us that we ourselves don't see, that we ourselves don't see, that we are the force to bring Mashiach. And he gave us hints of what we have to do. We have to tell other Jews that it's happening. That's a big part of our job. We have to love other Jews in a way that we don't do now. We have to really think about, how do I treat every Jew, not just the Jews who I think are the Jews that I look up to, but all Jews. How do I treat everybody? The lowliest Jew is not lowly in Hashem's eyes. Every Jew is infinitely precious, and every Jew has a spark in them of God that nobody else has. So, and also we have to learn about redemption. We're supposed to learn about redemption. So this day, 27 years ago, the job became ours. And we each have to think about what we're going to do to advance it. So anyway, are there any questions?
I'm sorry.
One more thing, sorry. Oh, so, okay, go ahead.
I missed a couple of minutes there trying to get back on. Amy, can you explain the auspicious date? Is this?
Oh, no, I think that's what Shlomis Yehudis was just saying.
27 years ago. I missed part of it. I'm sorry.
I
So
think
27
Shlomis
years
Yehudis
ago.
was just saying that tonight was the night where on the 28th of Nisan, am I getting this right?
Yeah,
Where the
completely.
Rebbe said it's up to us. That
Okay.
it's not his job to usher in the cure or the revolution or the change. It's up to us. And that's why tonight was specifically auspicious, and that they moved it to Tuesdays rather than
Yes.
Monday for just the night, is because it's tonight has the energy of us knowing it's our job to usher this change. Did I get that right?
Oh my gosh, much better than me. That was awesome. That was awesome. Okay.
Thank
That was
you.
awesome. And I want to just say one more thing, because I absolutely 100%, billion percent believe that this is true. I believe that there's an energy in the world that's more available now, that Hashem is more available. And I believe that you can climb mountains now in ways that you never could before. I see it in my own life, stubborn things that I could never do, stubborn problems that I could never, my goal every year, my resolution every year, my resolution every birthday, my resolution over and over again. And now I'm able to do these things. So I think that I absolutely think that there's a power in the world that is more, that Hashem is more available, and ask him for help, and don't expect instant magic, but I think you can see changes in yourself if you just try. So anyway, any questions?
Well, I did have something to say that I just wanted to repeat your words again, because I just thought it was really, really lovely. That when you were talking about what happens when the Jews are squeezed, that the finest things come out of them, that I was remembering that you taught something years ago that I continue to re-share every year. It has to do with the Hanukkah story, that you said that the Jews are like the olive, and when the olive is pressed, that's where we get the olive oil that's supposed to light the candles. That means our eternal life. She says that's what happens when the Jew is pressed, is that you have to press the olive, really squeeze it really hard, and that's what gives us this olive oil, which allows us to be eternal. I wanted you to know that that's exactly what I thought of when you were going on about the different examples of that. And I thought, you have no idea that I've been giving that gift of yours, that teaching of yours, for a long time, ever since.
That's so interesting, Amy. It's so interesting. And also what you said, that when you squeeze an olive, an olive is bitter, but when you squeeze it, the oil is sweet. And that's with every single Jew. When you squeeze a Jew very much, their Yiddishkeit comes out. Their soul comes out. And there was something that this is not. There's Artur Rubinstein. Yeah, you remember him? He was a grand pianist, right? And he came from a foreign country. He's a Jew. He didn't live a particularly Jewish life. He certainly wasn't an Orthodox Jew, and he wasn't. He lived a little bit of a Epicurean's life. He sampled a lot of life, and not exactly according to Torah ways. And at the end of his life, he was blind, and he was totally blind, and something else. I can't remember what it was, but absolutely totally blind. He was 95, and he was living in an apartment, his several wives, I guess they weren't part of his life anymore, and his paramours, whatever. And he was living with an aide, and the aide had to take care of his very bodily needs because he couldn't function, and he couldn't function so well. And somebody came to interview him, and that person asked him to reflect on his life and to think about what was the best. He had a very illustrious life, and he wanted to know what was the best time of your life. And Arthur Rubinstein said, "Now is the best time of my life." And the reporter couldn't believe, "What do you mean now?" He said, "Now, because now I realize that I'm a part of a great people. I didn't give a lot of thought to it before, but I realize now that I am a part of a great people. And that makes my life worth living so much more than anything else." And yeah, I looked for it. I looked for it a few months ago. I found it 4 years ago. Somebody told me that story, and I found it on the internet. But now I can't find it anymore. But it's a spectacular little thing. When he was in a press situation, no sight, no freedom of movement, no wives anymore, none of those things. And what came out? His recognition of how precious it is to be a Jew. Anybody?
That's a beautiful story. I actually heard him in concert when I was in college.
Wow.
I got to hear him at Constitution Hall in Washington.
Wow.
It was beautiful.
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you said that Rabbi Schneerson said that the Mashiach's name will be Menachem.
Yes.
Is that right? What did he say that meaning himself or?
He said it many, many, many times. He said his name is Menachem. He said, what? Yeah, it's from the Gemara. The Gemara says that Mashiach's name will be Menachem. And he was repeating the Gemara that the Gemara predicts that Mashiach very likely will have the name Menachem. And
what is
that's his first name. Menachem means the comforter. Menachem means the comforter.
Okay.
And so, but the Rebbe made infinite hints that he is Mashiach. Infinite hints. And as we said, why would he have to hint? Why can't he just say, "I am Mashiach"? And the reason that Mashiach is a king, and he will be a king. He is a king, and he is actually a king, but he's not fully a king. In Jewish law, a king does not impose himself on the people. In any other law, a king is, he inherits the job, and that's his. But in Jewish law, a king must be ein melech below am. There is no king without a people. A king cannot be king until the people accept him, and until the people accept him. And so David HaMelech, oh my gosh, he had a much harder life than he had the most crazy hard life. He was rejected by his family, rejected by everybody, and the prophet came to tell him, to tell David's family. The prophet came and anointed him and said, "This is the one that Hashem picked." And his father was like, "What?" And nobody could even believe it. Anyway, David was an absolutely sensational person, totally misunderstood the most part of his life. But after he was anointed by God's prophet. That means he's king. But he wasn't king until the people accepted him. And the people of his own tribe accepted him after a while. And then it took 7 years for the entire Jewish people to accept him. And not until the entire Jewish people accept him is he really king. That's the way Hashem made the world. Hashem made the world that the Jewish people and Mashiach are integrally related. They're both dependent on each other. A king can't be king unless the people accept him. There was a woman who had a dream. I don't know how much credence you want to give to it, but a woman in one of my learning groups had a dream, and she saw the Rebbe in her dream. It's a very big thing when you see a Rebbe, and I've had a couple of dreams with the Rebbe, and they were very spectacular dreams, and very significant dreams. Anyway, in her dream, she said, "Rebbe, how come you weren't taking the job yet?" And he said, "I need to be elected first." So anyway,
when the Mashiach comes, will we be here in this country, or will we all automatically be in Israel, or what will happen?
It says that Hashem will gather the Jewish people from all over the world and bring us to Israel, and Israel will expand its borders. And yeah, it says we're going to be carried on eagle's wings. I don't know if that's literal or figurative, but that's what it says.
And do we know how soon that will be?
You know, that's so anyway, we are now in the year 5780, and Mashiach must come by the year 6000, which is 2020 years from now, 220 years from now. But our sources say that he has to come even 200 years before that. So so that means the next 20 years. But the Rebbe said it's now. The Rebbe says it's our time. So I'm banking on the Rebbe, and I'm banking on the Rebbe.
So that means that all the Jewish people will be gathered
I'm going
in
to
Israel?
unmute. Pardon?
So all the Jewish people will be gathered in Israel?
Yes.
And what about the rest of the people?
Well, everybody will love Mashiach, and they'll all come to Israel. They'll all, come to see the temple, come to see, the rebuilt temple. They'll all have a part in it, and the animals, everybody, they'll all have a part in it. And yeah.
Will we still have America though, and other countries, and
Yeah, sure, why not?
Democrats and Republicans fighting?
No, I don't think Democrats and Republicans, that will be the biggest miracle of all, right? When the
Molly,
Democrats and
you're funny.
Republicans stop fighting.
But we'll still have other countries. We'll just,
Yeah.
but the Jewish
Yeah.
people will be in
Yeah.
Israel.
Yes, yeah. And Israel will be much bigger than it is now.
We
to
should tell
accommodate.
them to build more housing again.
That's right. They should be building more housing, absolutely. Yeah.
Will it be big? Will it exceed the borders that Abraham walked? That it.
Well,
will
it said that
expand beyond-
they say that Israel, I didn't know this, but apparently a deer's skin stretches, and they say the land of Israel will be like a deer's skin, and it'll stretch, and it'll
Okay,
accommodate the whole Jewish people.
interesting.
Okay.
How are we going to know if it's him or not, Susan?
Oh, it's a very good question, Faith. How are you?
How are you going to know if it's
Yeah, I think that if somebody just came and presented themselves, we would give them a very hard time. I think probably Hashem will help him somehow to identify himself, So
Like-
I really don't know. I don't know that we know precisely how. I don't know that we know precisely, but it's a great question, Faith. I don't know if we know precisely how we will know, but we will know.
Some people are saying that's why so many people are dying from the virus. He's cleaning house now so that he can prepare for whom he wants to come.
So I would say to that so many holy people have passed away.
Right.
Rebbes have passed away of this virus. So many, and in Crown Heights, a lot of holy people that I know. The Rebbe secretary that I mentioned earlier, Rabbi Groner,
And a
Thank you for
beautiful
saying
young
that.
boy.
a marvelous person. So I prefer to see it that the Rebbe needs an army up there too, and he's assembling his army up there too. He's assembling his troops for the final push to bring Mashiach. So that's how I prefer to look at it. And yeah.
So our generation of the people, let's say 70, may not ever get to see him.
No, I don't think so. I
Right.
I honestly think that it's going to happen much sooner than we think. I hope so.
Will he have some more laws for us to follow?
That's a wonderful question. I don't think so. I don't know. Well, there's so many Jewish laws that we already don't follow. Even somebody who follows everything, and even somebody who follows. Okay, good. Even somebody who follows everything. When we get to Israel and we have a temple, there's going to be a ton more things that we're going to do. We're going to know. Now we keep kosher. Then we're not only going to keep kosher, but we're going to keep purity and impurity. You have to be pure in order to go to the temple. There are going to be so many more things that we have to learn. They exist now, but they're not in force because we don't have a temple.
Maybe
Uh-oh.
they're there to
Wait a
acquaint
minute,
us.
I have to unmute you. Malka, I muted you for a second when Faith was talking. Go ahead.
There are many kosher markets like the Empires that have closed down. Did you know that over the past 2 days?
Ah,
Many people got sick. So a lot of the kosher meat markets are no longer pushing out kosher meat.
seriously, Empire Kosher closed?
They're
Wow.
closed, right?
Wow,
Because
wow,
so many
wow.
got sick. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
everybody's getting concerned, you know, what they can do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You didn't know that?
I didn't hear that. That's dramatic.
Yeah.
I have a question, Susan.
Yeah.
Because this fell exactly on Passover, there was like darkness and there's been the virus. Is there going to be another pledge on Passover?
Another what?
Plague.
Plague?
Passover? Yeah,
No.
plague.
No, Passover is set in stone. There were 10 plagues.
I know. But it's the way that it's like,
She wanted me to paint the walls with red.
I did.
With blood because it got dark early.
It did. It was really dark. It
And
was
she was
so
afraid.
dark. It was so dark in our house. It was so scary.
But we don't
Very
have.
interesting.
but
Okay, good.
Okay, the other lady wants to talk.
In fact, that's an awesome question. The Exodus from Egypt that is written up in the Haggadah, that's set in stone. That already was. But what you're saying is awesome because it says that first we were exiled in Egypt, then we were exiled in Persia, and then we were exiled. Then we were actually very briefly we were exiled in Babylonia, then Persia. Then we were exiled by Greece. We were in our own country, but we were still in exile because we weren't the bosses of the country, as I say to my kids. So there was Egypt. Egypt was a template for all of them. And then there was 1, 2, 3, and now we're in the 4th exile. It's called the exile of Rome. And it hasn't ended yet. We don't have our next temple yet, but we know that this last redemption is going to be the final redemption, and there's never going to be an exile again after this, and we're all going to be in Israel. But there's going to be many parallels to Egypt, many parallels to that one.
Could you make it a drop softer, please?
Okay.
Does that mean that we won't do the bad things that caused us to be exiled in the past?
Yes, please.
It means that we will never again be put in exile. We will never, and people will be naturally refined. We are. It says in the same parsha, Tazria Mitzorah, it says that. Oh, sorry. It says in the same parsha that the Rebbe said that really any bad traits that you see in a Jew right now, if you see a bad trait in another Jew, it's only superficial. That we are extremely refined internally already. We've been through a long haul, and if you see something you dislike on another Jew, know that it's just superficial, and you can blow it away.
What if it's that person has zero interest in Judaism? Like if you even mention prayer, they like cringe.
Right.
I mean, is that
Right.
also a person who?
I want to say that sometimes that no Jew has no interest in it. It doesn't exist that a Jew has no interest. It could be that when you say it, or when I say it to somebody who's close to me, I can't say a word to some relatives of mine, not one word. If I say one word, I'm in big fat trouble. But they can hear it from other people, interestingly enough, just not from me, just not from somebody who's a close figure in their life. So I don't think the spark is not dead in any Jew. It's just you know, they won't take it from you. Not you as an insult, because you're a close person to them. So there are people I can talk for hours to people I can't say a word to family members. So yeah, it happens. I think the Jewish spark is alive in every Jew. I really do.
Because if, for instance, somebody that I know was saying to me, what can we do during this time? I feel like I'm at home and I'm enjoying being at home and I have lots of things to do. And I was going to say, well, you can pray for people. You know, that's one thing you can do. But I didn't feel comfortable saying that because I felt like it's not a person who, you know, would appreciate me saying that, you know, so.
They might see it as your reflection on them. Yeah.
Or that I have a belief in religion and prayer, but you know, it's more like I might sound like I'm imposing it.
Right.
But it is something that if you don't have the, you know, if you don't have the medical skills and you can't go out there and heal people or help people in that way, and you're not having to work in a job where you're helping people stock shelves or whatever you're doing, then you know, then even if you're at home, you can still pray for people. You can still do, you know, certain things. You can do mitzvahs,
Right.
but it's not easy to tell that to people who don't have an understanding of the importance of doing mitzvahs.
Yes, it's true. And it's true. So, you know, either you can say it in a roundabout way, but if they just a minute, if they discover that it's a roundabout way, you know, there's certain people you just can't say anything to, and you just have to be a model, and they're going to watch you from afar, and they're going to see what you do. You don't have to even tell them what you do. And they're going to see, oh, she's much more refined, and she's all these different things. You can see, you know, like, but there's certain people it just doesn't pay to say anything. It really doesn't. Anyway, anybody else?
It sounds like we don't have to. It sounds like it will happen on its own at the right time.
Yeah. You know how many people, yeah. Boy, did I have big fat fights with when I first became religious, and you know, I learned the hard way. You don't talk to everybody. You talk to people who are receptive. You don't talk to everybody. So, you know, and family is family, and that's all that, you know, you have to remember that family is family, and they're not, even if I love them, and I you know, like I have a relative, and I've told her at various times, you know, I feel like I have $1 million and I just want to share it with you. But it just, you know, but better if it's a family member, just to respect their boundaries, you know, that's and they will, on their own, they will find their way.
You have to.
Anyway,
encouraging.
I think we're going to end here, if you don't mind, unless anybody else has a burning question.
Is everyone all right?
Everyone's good here. Sean,
I'm sure they can
if you had a moment to stay on, I have a question that has absolutely nothing to do with this topic.
Okay.
So I wonder if after everybody goes, if you could just stay on for like 60 seconds or another minute.
No
and
problem.
recording.
Absolutely. No
Yeah.
problem.
All right, everyone, be well.
Be well,
Okay.
everybody.
Emily.
See you guys.
Have a good night.
Speak to you soon, Molly.
Take care.
Okay, good.
Speak to you soon. Take care.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'll sign off too. Thank you so much for a beautiful shiur.
Thank
What
you
would
for
we
your
call this?
questions. Thank you. So I'm going to stop recording. I hope this will work.